Hi, my name is Monet Young. I'm a first year pre-med bio student from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hi, my name's Jewel Harper. I'm a first year biochemistry major on the pre-med track from North Jersey.
Hi, my name is Aja Green, and I'm a first year psychology pre-med major from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, my name is Skylar Gwynn. I am a first year pharmacy major from Charlotte, North Carolina.
My name is Sydney Nathaniel. I'm a first year biology major from Vallejo, California.
Our research project was on how the size of birds of prey impedes its migration pattern in Allegheny Front, Pennsylvania.
All right, so the introduction. The research and data discuss how mass of bird prey affects bird migration. The data specifically comes from hawkcount.org, where several people were sent to count, tally, and make observations based on how often birds came out to migrate. A little bit about the site. Along the Allegheny Front escarpment, raptors, eagles, hawks, osprey, dragonflies, monarchs, etc., can be seen sliding and swooping both above and below humans as they sweep into the valley during spring and fall migration. One line graph, donut chart, and two tables were constructed to really give a visual representation of migratory birds of prey. The larger birds are specifically being compared to see how often/frequent they migrate. Birds typically migrate in the fall because of seasonal weather changes. For example, birds would migrate towards the colder states such as Ohio, Colorado, or New York because they are well adapted to this type of environment.
So a little bit of background information about our research. Our research question was, does the mass and length of the bird of prey affect their migration patterns? And this helped us come up with our hypothesis of the larger the bird, the less migratory they are because of the flight efficiency. And our null hypothesis was something similar, which was there was a significant relationship between the size of the bird and its migratory behavior due to the flight efficiency. And that helped us come up with the prediction of the larger birds are less migratory than the smaller birds.
And for our methods, we found a site on hawkcount.org, and the site that we chose was Allegheny Front, located in Pennsylvania. And we chose the fall months from fall of 2022, including August to November. We then imported the data into an Excel file where we had the type of bird, how many times they were sighted throughout each day of the month, and then the weather conditions. We then put all that data into different graphs and tables. And then there was subject to error because there was no specific overseer, and then there was unknown or unidentified birds.
So based on the data that we collected from the hawkcount.org website, we were able to observe that the broadwing hawk abundance and richness for the month of September exceeded its other counterparts, but for August, there was a decline. For November, the highest abundance and richness was the rough-legged hawk, and the lowest was the osprey. And all of the data collected suggests that the larger birds require more time to accumulate energy and resources they need to migrate, so they begin their migration earlier. Our takeaway message from our analysis included fluctuations and trends in the bird counts in the Allegheny Front due to climate or habitat changes within the environment. The sharp-shinned hawk and the broad-winged hawk were sighted the most, and the larger birds may have faced more competition for resources during their migratory periods. And then the larger birds, they may need to migrate earlier than the smaller birds to avoid the competition and to secure resources for themselves. Because they are larger, they need more resources compared to the smaller birds. And based on our analysis, our hypothesis was rejected because the size of the bird wasn't the only factor that could have affected their migratory behaviors, but our hypothesis could also be supported because the larger birds were less migratory due to flight efficiency, and that was our prediction.
Okay. So figure 2 is a line chart that shows the whole season migration pattern according to their average weight. The red and blue lines are considered the larger bird, which is based solely on weight. These two lines, which show the abundance of how often you've seen the bird, are higher than the green and yellow line, which showed the smaller birds during the fall season. The graph suggests that larger birds are less migratory because they have a larger abundance over the seasonal period. Okay. Table 1 shows a duration of each bird based on when they were first observed versus when they were lastly observed. The observation of the duration was originally made to see if the time period between seeing a bird would have shown a different migration period, but because the sightings were random, the possibility of seeing one small bird makes the duration longer. The abundance should have a positive relationship with duration, but strictly looking at the duration alone, it can be determined that it does not affect the migration patterns. Figure 3 is to understand that the migration of birds of prey, no matter the mass or length, is influenced by a more complex and dynamic process. The sharp-shinned hawk compared to the broad-winged hawk are going to have a difference in abundance, even though they are both considered smaller birds. The broad-winged hawk migrates primarily in September, according to the chart, where the sharp-shinned hawk migrates the least during that month, but are typically considered birds who migrate all of fall. Between these two smaller birds, the broad-winged hawk abundance was more stationary during the month of September when compared to the even smaller bird, the sharp-shinned hawk, meaning larger birds still migrate later. Table 2 highlights the migration period from September and October based on the pie chart. It compares the smaller bird, the broad-winged hawk, with the larger bird, the eagles, to further understand the complexity of migration beyond abundance. The migration time period for the golden eagle birds was out of our observation period. The larger birds migrate during November to March, so it makes sense to see their abundance lower during a period that does not include them. When a smaller bird was seen with a larger abundance averaging of 512 because of September to October is the broad-winged hawk's migration period.
For our critiques, we said that we would include a specific graph, such as scatter plots, and that we would find a more specific research question. And then we would research our location site more to understand if weather or geography has a significant relation to the size of the birds.
So based off of what Sydney just said, we were able to support our critiques based off of a study that was done in 2007 by Farmer and other authors. And regression-based analysis revealed that migration counts produce trends with greater precision for species sampled by this certain method. So next, when we evolve on our project, we would like to include regression graphs, and then as well as our hypothesis. We also cited a Snyder article from 1981. Although it is a dated article, it is still relevant to our rejected hypothesis because competition may have affected the birds' migration behaviors as well. So the next steps is to focus on other factors such as climate and competition to see how they affect birds' migratory behaviors. Figure 2 and 3 did show the bird size and frequency of migration and those relations, as Monet explained previously. And our hypothesis can still be supported that the larger birds were less migratory due to flight efficiency, but it can also be rejected, as I stated previously, because the size of the bird wasn't the only factor that affected their migration.
We would like to thank Hampton University Department of Biological Sciences, Shanti Dash, and the NSF TIP for this opportunity.